Melania showed who's in charge now with where she just showed up to step on Michelle's toes. All of America has been excitedly waiting for the First Lady to make her way to D.C. and take up residence in the White House. A few weeks ago, she finally did just that, and it's obvious that she's going to be a fantastic First Lady and a great ambassador for the United States. She's already achieved putting a much more tasteful spin on events like the Easter egg roll and entertaining of dignitaries. Melania Trump's lack of presence in Washington, D.C. over the first few months of this administration was targeted as being because she didn't actually have dedication to her husband or to the position of First Lady. However, as has been put forward time and time again, the delayed transfer was for the sake of keeping a preteen boy from having his life turned upside down any more than it already had been. Unlike our former First Lady, Melania Trump has made an effort to let at least some of her world revolve around her offspring instead of pushing him off on others as much as possible. The latest example of the upgrade that America received in Melania versus Michelle was when she stood up for her husband, like wives are supposed to do after he was attacked. He, of course, retaliated against that attacker, but the left is on his case about it. Between that and the visiting leaders from South Korea, Melania has had her hands full, and the media is trying to catch her in any kind of screw-up. Just keep looking, guys. Nothing to see here. Melania Trump returned to the White House on Thursdays to stand by her husband after earlier defending his astonishing personal attack on MSNBC host Mika. The First Lady joined her husband in welcoming South Korean President Moon Jae-in and his wife to Washington, D.C. She had been in New York City earlier in the week, but returned to her new home as her husband was engulfed in criticism over his comments towards Brzezinski. I heard poorly rated at Morning Joe speaks badly of me. Don't watch anymore. Then how come low IQ crazy Mika along with Psycho Joe came to Mar-a-Lago 3 nights in a row around New Year's Eve and insisted on joining me? She was bleeding badly from a facelift. I said no. In a flurry of tweets, the president called the Morning Joe host crazy and low IQ and said cruelly that she was bleeding from the facelift after undergoing the facelift when he spent time with her and her fiancé co-host Joe Scarborough at Mar-a-Lago over the New Year. Melania, who has previously told of her plan to launch an anti-cyberbullying campaign, stood by her husband's remarks. The president sparked controversy earlier in the day with tweets about Morning Joe host Mika Brzezinski. Her spokeswoman, Stephanie Grisham, said in a statement, as the First Lady has stated publicly, when her husband gets attacked, he will punch back 10 times harder. Her response was of a similar tone to that taken by Deputy White House Press Secretary Sarah Huckabee Sanders, who said earlier in the day that the president was fighting fire with fire. Trump said his grievance with the show, which he claimed not to match, was with that Brzezinski talked bad about him. On Thursday night, there was no sign of remorse from either Trump as they waited for Jae-in and his wife on a red carpet outside the White House. Melania was elegant in a fitted blush cocktail dress and a nude patent Christian Louboutin stilettos. She beamed from the cameras. She made her way to the end of the red carpet to wait for the South Korean leader on the South Lawn. After posing for some photographs outside, the two couples made their way to the state dining room where they were joined by more photographers. Trump began with a speech praising President Jae-in and revealed they plan to have long talks about how to tackle North Korea. He said he anticipated the conversation would go late into the evening, praising Jae-in on his recent election victory. Trump said he always had faith he would win. A lot of people didn't expect that, and I didn't expect it. I thought that was going to happen. President Jae-in joked that, like his host, he suffered from fake news coverage. Trump relished the remark and told gathered journalists he hoped they'd heard it. Earlier in the day, he met with leaders on Capitol Hill, including House Speaker Paul Ryan, who welcomed his visit and called for stronger ties between the U.S. and South Korea. On the Hill, Jae-in shared his well wishes for House Majority Whip Steve Scalise, who is still recovering after being shot in the hip during an attack on the Republican congressional baseball practice in Alexandria, Virginia, earlier this month. Of the attack, Jae-in said, "We must cross boundaries and all party lines and all come together and unite as one." His visit to Washington is significant given the U.S.'s growing animosity towards his neighbor, North Korea. The situation that Melania Trump finds herself in is that her job isn't to make policy. She wasn't elected to office. Her husband was. Her job is to support him, make him look good, and do whatever she can to aid the administration, which is what she's doing. If she had done anything even remotely negative, even if it were just a friendly disagreement on how to handle a diplomatic issue, the left would have jumped down her throat saying that it was proof she was miserable and didn't love her husband. The president and first lady are doing exactly what they're supposed to be doing. They're keeping their chins up, doing their job, and looking pretty good doing it. If you don't think so, you're probably on the wrong website. I'd suggest maybe the Washington Post or the New York Times. Perfect ending, I have to say myself. That was good. Let us know what you think in the comments below. And again, thank you so much for watching. But what a difference in appearances, you know? What a difference in appearances from that to that, you know? Again, thank you so much.